Hi, I'm Jim McDonald. I've been working with late talking children of all kinds for almost 40 years now. And one thing that parents and professionals seem to think that they're supposed to do is to teach the child something the child doesn't know. Well, what we've found is that you get much more success with a child, both social and communicative and cognitive success, if you go into the child's world first, and if you respond to the child's world. So what I want to do is to talk about one of our major strategies that we teach parents and professionals, and that is responding. And responding to the child. Let me talk about what responding is. Let me give you an example. It's very common for people to think they're supposed to be teaching a child, direct a child what to do, get the child to know things that they don't yet know. But when your goal is to get the child to be interactive, social, and communicative, the goal first is to get the child to interact with you and then to communicate things that they know. Well, what does a child know? What do you think a child knows? Lots and lots of research on early child development is showing that children live in a world of action and sensation, many children, even older children. So, what do children know? If you're in a room with your child and you really wonder what he knows, let's say he's not talking or not talking much, and you don't really know what he knows, how would you guess what he knows? If you say what he's doing, then you're right. Because what a child is doing is what he knows. And eventually, if we're wanting a child to talk, to have words, his words are going to be expressions of what he already knows. So we're not really interested in teaching a child anything new. What we're interested in is teaching a child to interact about things he already knows. That relates to the issue of responding, because then that tells us what we should respond to. Because once we respond to something, we're going to support that, and we're going to increase the likelihood that the child is going to be doing more of that. Let me give you an example of the difference between a directive person and a responsive person. And let me give you the example with a little girl. Let's say she's 3.5 years old, and she's not really talking much. She plays mainly by herself, and she doesn't really talk to people except when she really wants something. So she's just starting to talk. She might be a child who's called autistic. She might be a child with Down syndrome. She might be an apraxic child. She might be just a late talking child. Let me give you a contrasting example. The directive child, the directive adult comes in the room and sees the little girl. The little girl is sitting there rocking her baby doll, and she's just playing with her baby doll, and she's going ooh, 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 like that. The directive person comes in, and this happens all the time. The directive person comes in and thinks that her job is to help the child talk. And so she takes the doll up, points at her nose and say, "What's that?" And then says, "Show me her tummy. Show me her toes. What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that?" So she directs the child to talk about things that the adult is wanting to talk about. And the child, unless she's been taught to be very, very compliant in a rote way, the child probably won't respond much to her. And that won't be a very effective way of teaching a child how to talk. On the same day, another person comes in, and that other person is a responsive person. And what she does, rather than going in and telling the child what to do, what she does first is to watch what the child's doing, watch the child rocking her baby. And then she gives her words slowly and with pauses. She gives her words